Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now on the 17th of October 2023. So just having a bit of lunch here, and over lunch I've watched one or two videos including Nigel Watson's latest one, which is called Unintended Consequences. And basically the gist of his video is the powers that shouldn't be, with all of their shenanigans, have expected people to behave in a particular way, the way they were expecting, essentially. But there have been, really because of human nature, really unpredictable human nature, there's been consequences that they just weren't expecting, and lots of them. And every time they try and correct or compensate for one of these unintended consequences, those actions then create more unintended consequences. And I left a comment under his video saying that basically what it's resulted in is they're just playing one great big game of whack-a-mole. So, that game where you're trying to whack down the little moles as they sort of pop their heads up, and every time you get one, another three pop up. So that's kind of, to me, what it seems like. So I'll leave a link to that video in the description box below. It's a very interesting video, and Nigel, if you're watching, thanks for that one. So I think one of these unintended consequences is the explosion of creativity on our side. I've been talking to one or two people, these various interviews, and just going around and talking to people, and I think, I don't know, you might fall into this same category. I know it's certainly the case with me. It was the case with the lady I was talking to yesterday, interviewing, and as far as I'm concerned, I've been a drifter really all of my life as far as career and things are concerned. I've never really known what my true purpose and my true calling is. I've always thought I was a creative person, but I never had enough impetus to channel that creativity into any one particular direction for any length of time. Yes, I'd half-heartedly try and do something, and then I'd move on and try this, and then I'd move on to something else, and I just never got anywhere with it because I had no focus. As Karen, this lady, was saying, it's almost like all of these years that has been preparation for what we've gone through in the last 3.5 years. It's almost like all of our lives before then was just a preparation for what we're doing now. And I know there's lots of people in the freedom movement, etc., who are the same, really, kind of the same kind of person as me in that regard. And yeah, that's how it feels like to me. I just feel like my creativity has exploded out from not being very focused to just going at it for it, hammer and tongs, almost to the point of exhaustion sometimes. I'm sort of driving here, there and everywhere to film events and talk to people, interview people, but I absolutely love it, and I feel like this is what my true calling is. And so many other people out there are finding the same thing. Their creativity has been woken up, and as far as they're concerned, it's also exploding into so many different channels, whether they're a cartoonist, an artist, a writer, a photographer, or someone who does videos like this, or proper filmmaking, like the Oracle Films guys. I don't know what their history was before 2020, but they've been making some fantastic kind of freedom organisation oriented films which have been amazing. So it's like their creativity has exploded, and you know, we all just feel compelled to help the world, really, to get the message out to the world. It's like a calling, really. It's like a duty. I feel it's my duty to do this. I feel it's my calling to do this. I feel, that God is calling upon me to do this kind of thing, to get the message out. And I might be slightly unfocused at the moment, and I'm focused on this kind of topic, but I'm sort of 1 minute I'm kind of making videos like this, and then I'm doing interviews or I'm filming events. Whether people think I should be more focused than that, I don't know. But for me, it just what I'm doing, just sort of coming at it from a few different angles, but in a fairly narrow channel overall. It feels right to me, and I feel like I am doing the right thing here. So it's been an absolutely amazing time. Now, there's a lady in Canada. Hi, you know who you are, I'm sure, and who I'm in sort of contact with, both in the comments under these videos and on my sort of email newsletter as well. And she's another creative person. She sort of writes songs kind of a country and western style, and she has said the same kind of thing, that she's written more songs in the last sort of few years than she has in her entire life before that, and even though she's been writing songs and being musical for most of her life by the looks of it. So that's another person whose creativity has been really, really massively woken up by these events. And it's just a massive unintended consequence, because the powers that shouldn't be, they like us to be in a low vibrational state, which they achieve through their constant fear mongering. They always want you to be worried about the latest lurgy or World War III again. That was a great video title from a fellow person in the freedom movement. He made a video just with the title when all of this sort of stuff in the Middle East was kicking off last week. Oh, it's World War III again. That made me chuckle, that did, because that's all part of the ridiculous fear-mongering, isn't it? And then there's so many other things they want you to be afraid of. And one thing I never really understood for many, many, many years is just why people behave in certain ways that they do. Just going to work, commuting to work, that's hard work. If you've got a drive to work that should take 20 minutes, but it takes 45 minutes because of all the traffic and everything in the rush hour in the morning, you feel like you've done a day's work before you even get to work. Then you've got to do a whole day's work, dealing with maybe a boss you don't like, or colleagues you don't like, or a customer you don't like, and then you've got that commute home. You get home, I don't know, around about sort of 6 or 7 o'clock, and you're going to be in a low vibrational state at that point, aren't you, because of all of that, and you're going to be sort of in a vulnerable state psychologically. And I think that, at that point, people should do something to raise their sort of vibrational state, and something uplifting. So whether that involves engaging in their sort of favourite hobby, or getting on the phone and chatting, having a chat with a friend, sort of playing with the kids, or whatever it might be, that's what they should be doing. But what do many people do instead? Well, they sit down, put on the TV, watch the news with all the doom and gloom on that, and then when that's over, they watch some sort of dull, depressing soap opera, and then after that, maybe a documentary about some sort of, kind of horrendous problem that's going on somewhere, and that's the last thing they need. But this is all, I think, deliberate to lower people's vibrational energy. So, which is where the powers that shouldn't be, I think, want to keep you. But with us and our raising creativity, that, I think, is an unintended consequence. They certainly didn't expect us to get all creative like this and start making all of these amazing things, whether it's songs or books or films or whatever it might be, cartoons. They didn't expect any of that, and here we are. We're doing it, and we're sort of breaking out of that orbit of doom and gloom and fear and just the low vibrational states, and we're sort of raising ourselves up out of that mire, that bog, and that's where we are. And this same lady from Canada, she had an amazing insight, I think, and this didn't occur to me at all. Call me silly, or stupid, but this might be obvious to you, but it was a revelation to me, really. Now if you don't know, I've got a weekly email newsletter I put out on a Sunday evening about 6 p.m. If you want to sign up to that, I'll leave a link to it in the description box below. But the last one I called, the title of it was Zombie Apocalypse, and it was basically because there are rumours that certain things might, especially when other things are switched on, the sort of masts with a number and a letter after it, those things are turned on to a certain frequency, that people are going to sort of suddenly turn into zombies, which I don't really buy that myself personally, to be honest with you, not in the literal sense. And I was kind of making that point, really, but I was also saying in this newsletter, why is it that so many films and TV programs feature zombies? It just seems, out of all the kind of horror films and TV programs and ones about apocalypses, every other one, or pretty much all of them, feature zombies. And it was almost getting to the point where I said to my wife Lorraine, can't they just change the tune? Why has it always got to be zombies? But was that a bit of, predictive programming, or a bit of, hiding things in plain sight, or, future prediction? Who knows with these things? But what this lady was saying is she doesn't think it's a literal thing. I don't think we're going to be ever seeing zombies walking down the road, or anything like that. It's more of a metaphorical thing, and the zombie metaphor really kind of stands for all of the people who are still, after 3.5 years, completely and utterly unaware of what's going on and still think that there's nothing wrong, that the government are 100% truthful and wanting to do their best for their populations, and have had every single in there, etc., etc. And that is kind of what this lady was saying that the zombie metaphor might be. Not all of those people, but it does seem like there are people out there who just seem to be in a world of their own. Just when you're walking around or driving on the roads, it's just the way people drive now, the way people walk around, it's just like they're in their own little world, totally unaware of anything. And when you sort of try and you might bump into them in the street or something, and they just seem, there's no apology or anything like that, or they do a bad bit of driving, and there's just nothing there when you sort of putting your hand up like that. What's going on here then? When they've done something really crazy, they just sort of drive by, pretty much ignoring you and sort of not thinking there's anything wrong. So I think she had a really, really good point there. Is this zombie thing, was that a metaphor for this kind of behaviour that we're seeing now? Anyway, I've just noticed on the timer here that time's getting up to about 15 minutes, so I don't like to go on too much longer than that, so I'll finish here. But what do you think? Do you think this explosion of creativity on our side of the equation is one of the unintended consequences that Nigel was talking about? Because I think it is. So yeah, like I say, I'll leave a link to Nigel's latest talk in the description box below, and where you can sign up to the newsletter as well. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.